In fact, we're gonna grab my 918 bottle because I did that at Lundy's on that black hood I did this morning. They all went, holy shit. Hi, I'm Shane Schock with S&S Auto Supply. Today's demo is going to be prepping your panels and getting them ready for buffing, whether it be 1-step, 2-step, or 3-step. We are going to show iron removal, clay barring, clay mitting. We are going to be using products to do the job correctly in the least amount of time and get the best results. At the end of this video, I want you guys to be able to learn how to prep a panel, to get the contaminants off of the clear coat, and what products to use to get the best result with the least amount of effort to get that result. So today we're going to be using the RUPES system. Again, the word system is the key point. They have products, they have tools, they have the pads, they have surface prep, everything you need to get the job done correctly. One of the benefits of using the RUPES buffing system is they've designed their system to be kind of color-coded. For instance, you have blue compound with the blue wool pad or the blue foam pad. You have the yellow fine with yellow wool or the yellow DA foam pad like this one. You also have Uno Protect and Uno Advanced. They're both 1-steps. You can use with any pad depending on the surface. If it's less scratched and you want to polish more and cut less, then use a polishing wool or a yellow foam pad with this product. If you want to polish more, you can use the white one. The other product that's new is kind of fairly new is the Uno Pier. That again is used with a white foam pad, as in this one. So again, they're kind of color coordinated to take the guesswork out of it. And they are again random orbital, which means they're not going in a circle like a rotary buffer. Rotary buffers are going to cause scratches and swirls no matter what you do. I mean, you're making it in a circle. This one does a circle and jiggers at the same time. So you get less scratches, no swirls, no burns. For guys that are buffing on black finishes, that's kind of a bonus. You will never swirl it. All right, one of the other products that just came out here last year is Uno Advanced, which is this one. They had Uno Protect, which was an all 3-in-1. Uno Advanced is just a little bit, it's a finer polish. It's going to be a longer lasting product on the finish versus this one. Again, they're both products that you put on with whatever pad you need to do the job. Put it on the surface, put the haze on, leave the haze on for about 30 to 40 minutes, wipe it off. Do not wash that car or pickup for at least 4 hours. What happens is the cross-hatching between these two products, the surface will sit and actually, it's a chemical reaction. The surface will get shinier the next 4 hours as it sits. One thing you should know when you're using the RUPES products they are a water-based product. There are no fillers in them. They're body shop safe. I would always take and shake them before you go to use them. Get in the habit of putting your finger over the lid, shaking it, and when you're done using it each time, close the lid. Again, waterborne products evaporate if the lids are left open. So a lot of my shops will put them on the shelf and I see the lids open, I always walk by and close them. Always make sure you close the lids when you're not using them. The next thing is panel prep. There's several different ways. We highly recommend in the wash bay using an iron remover. Basically wash the car, rinse it off, spray this iron remover on the surface lightly, wait 3 to 5 minutes, you'll see the color change, and when the color changes, then come back and wash it with a soap and get it off. That will take all your iron contaminants off the clear coat. Another way is clay barring with either a clay mitt or a clay bar using the pink showroom shine as a lubricant. Again, the correct way to use clay bars is generally knead the clay bar flat, wet your surface with this lubricant, and then slide your clay bar. Use only one side of the clay bar. As the clay bar gets dirty, you're going to want to take and fold it and flatten it back out, putting all the contaminants in the middle of the bar. If you use both sides, when you go to fold it, you don't have a clean side to go to. Your clay bars will last 10 times longer by folding the contaminants to the center of the bar. If you drop a clay bar, throw the clay bar away. Once this hits the ground, every little particle on that ground is now stuck to this clay bar and it's garbage. The clay mitts are used either with a clay lubricant or you can use it in the wash bays along with any of our Stinger soaps. They're all great lubricants for this clay mitt. The number one product for using as a clay lubricant, it would be the cherry suds. A couple ounces in a 5-gallon bucket, tape your hose, bubble it up, kind of scoop up a little water with the bubbles and just lubricate the car. As long as you keep it lubricated using the Mitt, it will not scratch. Other products we could use, if you have tree sap, use the tree sap remover, number 738. We also have water spot remover. So a lot of the times if my customers are doing ceramic coatings, we highly recommend giving your car an acid bath using water spot remover to remove all contaminants. Because just because you're putting a ceramic coating on and you don't clean that surface, they will come back up through the surface later, and you do not want that to happen. One of the things with tree sap remover, it's a great panel prep. For instance, when we are doing ceramic coatings, one of the last things you do before you coat it is wipe it down with tree sap with a virgin microfiber. What tree sap remover does is remove all the oils, fingerprints, and everything like that from the clear coat, all contaminants, makes the surface 100% dry and clean for buffing. The cleaner you have the surface when you're compounding or polishing, you're not grinding in that material into this clear coat and making scratches or swirls. The cleaner you have the surface before you start, the better your buff job will be at the end, and the easier it will be also. For people that just wash a car and rinse it off and bring it into the buff bay and start buffing, you are literally swirling in all the contaminants that are in the clear coat. For instance, next time your car is clean or you think it's clean, take your hand, wet the surface, put your hand in a Ziploc baggie and rub it over the surface of the top. You're gonna feel all the contaminants. If you come by with either a clay bar or a clay mitt and you do this properly, you can take that same bag, same garden hose with a wet hood, rub your fingers in it, and you will not feel the contaminants. That's an easy way to test your surface before buffing. So what happens if you start buffing a vehicle before you've completely cleaned the surface and decontaminated is, if you take this compound pad or this one, and you put a product in this pad and you turn it onto a hood that you have not prepped, you will literally act like it's sandpaper and you will grind that buffing compound into all the contaminants. And what's gonna happen is you're gonna start going and you're gonna see hazing and scratches because you are putting them in because of what was left on that clear coat. So one of the most important things when you're gonna be buffing the outside of a vehicle or anything, always prep the surface. The little bit of time spent up front will save you a lot of time on the backside. And most people aren't getting paid per hour to do this, it's per job. So again, work smarter, not harder. So one of the things that most instructors will teach you is test spot buffing. And what that is everybody has their favorite mix. Mine happens to be the yellow RUPES wool pad with a buffer. Take and put your product on the pad, season your pad, turn it over. I use the yellow and the yellow as my starting point. And the reason being, I can always go more aggressive, I can always go less aggressive. What I want to know is if this panel needs just this one-step product like this, basically do your spot for 15, 20 seconds in a spot, remove your buffer, wipe the surface, and if you see all your marks are gone, and you can do it by a one-step and use that, then that's your go-to. If there's a little bit of hazing left behind, or you still see some scratches, then you need to go to a more aggressive combination like blue and blue. If you see hazing, like it's just foggy, then chances are this was too aggressive of a combo. Then you want to go to probably the yellow and the yellow DA foam pad as your combo, and then you won't get the hazing, yet you don't have very many scratches. So that first test run is the most important to see what you need to do. You don't want to do a whole car using this as your combination, get done and find out the whole car is hazed. It's easier to do a test spot, figure out what you need ahead of time, and then go forth after that. One of the faults of buffing indoors is the lighting. Your lighting with the halogen lights, the new LED lights, they just add a lot of light to your hood and you think that the scratches are so noticeable. There's a big difference when you move out to the natural sunlight. If you can get a car hood looking pretty good in a shop, chances are when you move it outside in the natural sunlight, you'll never ever see those marks. Another thing that people get wrong when they're buffing is they have one towel from start to finish. I personally will take a couple towels and I put them with the bottles. Compound goes with compound, yellow goes with yellow, and if I'm using Uno Pure, then the Uno Pure bottle will have its own towel on it also. You do not want to cross towels. You do not want to use a compound towel to wipe off Uno Pure because the compound left in the towel is going to cause scratching when you're trying to wipe it off. Another thing with towels is you do not want to take your towel when you're wiping this product off, any products. This does not work. This is a ball. I personally take them and I do the 4-fold method. I wipe lightly with one, get the product off the paint, flip over and wipe dry with the second side. Again, I'm wiping with a flat surface, not a bunched up one. Several towels for the job is always better than less towels. I always keep at least one per bottle, and I always have a backup of a couple clean ones in case you drop it on the ground. Again, put that towel aside, wash it, and use it later. The reason I say edgeless is you have no outside edge or tag on this towel anywhere. It's completely smooth. When you have an edge towel, like this red one, you have a tag. Tags will scratch. Guys tell me, oh, I ripped the tag off. Well, then you fray the end, and every time you wash and dry it, that hard border along that towel edge gets crunchy and crispy. So if you have an edgeless microfiber, you don't have any of those problems to deal with. After you wash this a couple times, you will wipe this and it will leave scratches behind on dark colors because of the edge or the tag or both. So again, edgeless towels or buffing are the key thing to use. We have several different colors. For instance, we have a blue, a yellow, a green, and a black. I just told the customer today, when you're using your yellow, use the yellow edgeless with the yellow product. When you're using the blue compound, use my blue edgeless with the blue product. I do have a green and black, so use that with the Uno Pure or the Uno Protect. But if you can get a system down, color coordinated, again, RUPES stresses this is a very good system to use. It is a system. It's not meant to be used other pads or other products. Use their products and their pads and you'll get a great result with less effort put into it. So one of the other things I want to talk about is laundry detergent. When you're cleaning detailing rags, it is good to use a detergent made for detailing. Your bulk soap from Sam's, your Tide soap from home, soap you get at Menards is not a soap used for detailing rags. And there's a couple good reasons why. One, our laundry detergent is a solvent-based. Most all these products that we use in the industry are somewhat solvent-based products. This product is 4 ounces to a full load. Very little bit to do the laundry. It will take the chemicals out of the rag, stand the fibers up, and make the rag kind of refreshed and new again. Standard household detergents have softeners in them, usually dyes in them, and have fragrances in them. 3 things you do not want in a detergent. If your detergent is red in color, it's a dye, you do not want it. If your detergent says cherry or it's blue in color, again, you've added a dye or a scent. You do not want that. This is an unscented, solvent-based laundry detergent. A very, very good product. And 99% of my customers that use this will call me and say, hey, we did what we said. We washed our rags that we were using Tide, and we washed them 3-4 times back to back. I tell people, wash them 3 or 4 times, get the chemical and the dyes and the fragrances out. Do not dry your towels on high heat. If you dry microfibers on high heat, it will shrink them and turn them crunchy and hard. Again, when you go to wipe off, you're going to cause scratches. If you're using these with the edge, these are actually going to turn even harder, and this is going to get dry and crinkly, and again, you're going to cause scratching, defeating the purpose of buffing your car hood. So this car has been pre-washed before we brought it over to this station. But one of the products we're going to demo is 794 iron remover. First, you want to wash the car, rinse it off, and have the surface wet. So again, the car has been pre-washed. We're just going to wet the surface. We are going to take our iron remover, ready to use, mist it lightly on the surface, including fenders, down on the wheel, and then you wait 3 to 5 minutes and let the product do its job. It's a slow release agent that's in it, so again, 3 to 5 minutes. You can see how it's starting to turn purple, so you know there's iron contaminants on the rim. Brake dust is 99% of the front wheels. Behind the wheels, you get brake dust that's burned into the clear coats on the surfaces. White vehicles, you can see it instantly. I can see a little purple right here with the lighting. Like again, I say white, it sticks out like a sore thumb. Okay, it's been 3 minutes. You can clearly see 3 to 5 minutes the running of the purple. Now all you have to do is basically rinse it off, wash it with soapy water, and you're good to go. So on the other half of the car, we use the 794 iron out remover on the surface and on the wheels to decontaminate the paint. On this side, we are going to use a clay mitt and a clay bar, and showroom pink number 822 is the lubricant. Again, when using your bar, flatten your bar out flat, mist your showroom shine on as the lubricant, and get plenty on there because you want to lubricate the bar so you're not wet sanding your surface. Again, we're only going to use one side of the bar. Put your bar down and clay the contaminants off. You will hear it as you swipe the bar. You will feel and hear the items being pulled off the surface. A lot of times on light colored cars, you can actually take and see the darkness running down the paint when all the contaminants start coming free from the clay bar. So again, we're using the clay bar in this half. You can hear it. So I know there's still some more there because I can hear it as the bar swipes across it. And I can see it on the paint running. I can see the darkness that it's taken off. On the second half, again, when you're using the clay bar, as it gets dirty, fold it to the middle and then flatten it out and only use one side of the clay bar. If you use both sides and you go to flatten it, you don't have a clean side to go to, and this clay bar will last 1/10 as long. If you drop it, as I said before, throw it away. You've now picked up every contaminant on the ground and you will scratch your car hood. So we have appropriate storage containers for these. Put it in the container, mist a little showroom shine, and then seal it up to keep it clean. Do not use soapy water as your lubricant for the clay bar. Do not use window cleaner. Do not use multi-purpose cleaners or bug remover. The showroom shine is a lubricant made for the clay bar, so it will not mold it or ruin the clay bar. Other products that have different things in it will either dissolve your clay bar and turn it gooey, or turn it rock hard, or just destroy the clay bar completely and have mold inside of it. Again, these two products were made side by side. This half of the car, we are going to clay it with a clay mitt. Put your hand in the mitt, spray your lubricant on, and spray your mitt. Take and swipe your mitt. You can hear the contaminants on the clear coat. It sounds like you're rubbing your hand across sand. Take your swipes. You'll feel it get smoother and slipperier as you get all the contaminants off the surface. There you go. Wipe your surface down, and you can feel the difference from a side that is clayed and a side that is not clayed. You can put your back of your hand and feel it, or again, slip your hand in a bag while the lubricant is still in the hood and swipe your hand in a Ziploc bag. You will feel the surface. Before we start buffing, we are going to use tree sap remover. It is a product used to remove all oils and contaminants left on the clear coat, whether it be finger oil, other compounds, polishes, things like that. Give it a slight mist. Take your microfiber and just wipe across. Again, I'm using edgeless microfiber towels, not edged, because I am working with the paint of the surface of the vehicle. No edges, no tags, no scratches from the towels. In this part, we are going to show you, I call it seasoning the pad and figuring out the pad and the product that you need to do the job correctly. Always take your RUPES products, put your finger over the hole and shake them just in case they're open. To season a wool pad from RUPES correctly, you are to take and put a little bit of an amount over the whole pad. And I take the edge of the butter knife and I spread it on the pad evenly. The product does not disperse evenly on a wool pad as it does a foam, so by spreading it, then I know the surface is wet. We're going to turn the buffer over on its face, turn it down to 1.5, turn it on and move it around for 30 to 45 seconds. This is called seasoning your pad. And the same time, we're going to be spot buffing to see if the yellow product and the yellow wool pad is what is needed to do this hood. So when we are done, we're going to have a seasoned pad and we'll also have a test spot done. I am a yellow and yellow guy. Some people like to use Uno Pier in the yellow or the blue in the blue. I just start in the middle. So turn your buffer on, run it for 30 to 45 seconds. And again, you noticed I am not pushing on the buffer. I'm letting the buffer, the product, and the pad do the work for me, not my arms and back. At the end of the day, when you're using a RUPES buffer, your arms and back should not hurt. If they do, you're leaning in, you're struggling, you're fighting the buffer. So I'm going to wipe off my test spot. and look at it. And it doesn't look bad, but this hood is pretty scratched up, so I can see we're going to have to go with the blue. And the blue, it got rid of some of the scratches, but not all of them. So with that said, I am going to use my brush, fluff the pad back up so the next time I grab it, the pad is ready to go, or an air hose, whatever you have on hand. This claw tool is also a removal tool for getting pads off. The RUPES Velcro and the backing plates are amazing. If you use this tool to get underneath and pull your pad up, you're not pulling on the pad to rip the foam, and then your pads last half as long. This way here, you'll prolong the life of your pad, and it makes it easier to get it off. So we're going to grab a new RUPES wool pad. Again, before I use any pad for the first time, I either take an air gun and I blow it out, or I use this tool to get away any loose fibers that are on the pad. Again, always make sure you close your containers so they're not sitting open and drying out. Yellow pad or yellow microfiber, yellow compound. Keep your pads and your product together. You don't want to cross-contaminate compound with polishing pads or you'll get scratches. Take your bottle, put your finger over the hole, shake it. It is a water-based product. Again, we're seasoning a blue pad for the first time. So take your product, get all your fibers wet. I always take the back of the tool and just spread it around evenly. So now we are going to do a test spot just a further down from the other one to make sure this is our combination that we need to use. Again, 30 to 45 seconds in one spot, moving just about an inch either direction to season your pad. My towel, wipe lightly. Okay, I can clearly see there's a difference. This side got rid of more of the scratches that were in the hood. We didn't cause any more hazing. If this side would have gotten hazing and the scratches were gone, then you would have known it was too aggressive for what the surface needed. It would have went to probably the yellow and the yellow DA pad. This hood is pretty marked up. This thing's been washed several times to a car wash by hand. It's got a lot of miles on it. So I'm thinking a compound step would be good. So we are going to do the first half of the hood, compound it, and we'll come back and polish it with the yellow DA foam pad and the yellow product, a 1-2, and it should look pretty good and we're done. Moving forward, once you've seasoned your pad, in between adding product, I always take an air gun and fluff up my pad, or I take my tool and I fluff the pad up this way. Once your pad has been seasoned, take your pad. I always shake the product, good habit to get into. I put a small T across like that. That's it. That's all it takes. Turn your buffer over, put the buffer on the surface before you start buffing, and then turn it on. I'm going to bump my speed up to about 3 once I get going, 3.5, knowing this hood has got some scratches. I will probably do just the front half, just so we can kind of compare old from new and keep it right on top of each other. I did that edge a little bit extra because I didn't quite go down all the way the first time. I have got my compound pad. With my compound, I'm going to wipe softly. Again, your lighting almost works against you inside a building. Those lights magnify whatever marks. This hood looks really good. If we were to move it out in the sun and look, you'd see nothing left behind. So we have clearly compounded the scratches out, gotten rid of any, we call them grocery sliding bags, any of those kind of marks, car wash marks from the wash brushes. I'm going to do this one up to about here with this compound, and then we are going to polish the bottom half and just kind of see the difference of what it has. Again, before I add product, I always take my tool, fluff up my pad, get all the old contaminants out of the pad. If you use an air gun, what you're doing is blowing all the dead clear coat, any contaminants you may have picked up, mainly just basically dead clear coat. The pad has been seasoned, we've been using it. Small T. If you get done and you find a scratch that kind of sticks out more after you've compounded, you can always go back, put a little product on your buffer, turn it up to speed 5 maybe. Work on just that scratch if there's one still kind of left behind that's pretty evident, and get rid of it that way. A lot of the guys in bigger shops that try to do a one-step buff on a car will actually go through, identify the scratches. A lot of them will use a piece of tape, a little product to put a little compound on the paint, little dots. They'll go through, they'll buff those products out with the blue wool and the blue product, wipe it down, and then come back over and do a full one-step with the yellow to eliminate having to do a full two-step on the vehicles. And that works pretty good with today's paints. It's a lot easier to do that than have to compound the whole entire car if you've just got a couple bad spots. And those are usually on the edge of fenders, on each side, the trunk lids, where including myself have a tendency to set stuff down or set it down and then drag it into your car. Compound those areas and then come back with your yellow wool and the yellow polish, the fine, and do a complete once over on the whole car. 99% of the time, that's all you need to do. It's just these top surfaces that get kind of hammered from us putting things on them. So with this car hood, this looks really good. So I'm going to come through now, and we won't use the wool. We will use the DA foam, and I'll show you how to season a foam pad. Again, before I put my pad, take my pad off, I always clean it with an air gun or this claw. And I do that to get in the habit. Your pads will last a lot longer if you actually clean them before you put them away, and they'll work a lot better. When you're using the 2 wool pads, I tell my customers, mark 1, 2, 3, and 4. Use 4 pads per vehicle. Divide your car up into 4. The first section, use pad number 1, depending on what pad you're using. Go about 1/4 of the way. When you get done, take it off, clean it, take it off, set it aside, grab your second pad. Today's pads are kind of made like a memory foam pad. If I were to start cutting this pad with this car with this pad here, by the time I get all the way to the front, it's not going to be working on that side. People were trying to figure out why they have hazing, why they can't get it to shine up. That's 100% the reason, is because they're not rotating their pads out. This has a memory foam. If you go all the way around the car, this foam is going to get crushed down. It's going to get hot. It's going to start breaking around the edges. That you do not want. It's an overstressed pad. So again, 4 pads per car, whether it be either one of the wools. The foam, I pretty much use the same foam for 1 car. You can get away with that very easily. Again, rotate your pads. So we are going to come back and finish this half with the yellow polish and a yellow foam pad. I will show you how to season the pad. And afterwards, I'll explain the 3-step, 1-step, and all the different steps that are needed or you need to take. Center your pad on the buffer, shake your bottle up well. To season the foam pads with the RUPES system, this is a 6-inch pad. So you're going to take and put 6 dots the size of your pinky nail on that pad, because it's a 6-inch pad. If it was a 5-inch, you put 5. A 3-inch, you put 3. One easy thing to remember when using the DA foam pads with RUPES. I've taught hundreds of classes on people over the years, and I've literally taught thousands of people in 35 years. The number one complaint to detailing anything is, I'm afraid to buff. With the RUPES system, you don't have to be afraid. I like taking people who have never buffed a vehicle in their life before and use them in my class. If I'm doing a class or I'm teaching a dealership how to buff, you don't need to know how to buff. You just need to know how to season your pad and what to look for and how to move your buffer around. It's not like the old days with the rotary buffer where you can swirl or burn on edges. I mean, you would have to literally try to wreck a hood with this system. That's why it's so nice in dealerships. You don't need to know how to buff to make a black vehicle or a dark vehicle look great. So again, we put in 6 dots the size of my pinky nail on a foam pad. You're going to flip the pad over. You're going to turn it down to 1, and you're going to move it around for 30 to 45 seconds. You're going to season the pad and disperse the chemical properly. We did not spread it with a knife like we did on the wool pads, because foam, it does spread evenly in a foam pad, where wool, it kind of hangs onto the fibers and doesn't want to spread unless you spread it for it. So again, we're going to turn it down to 1 and season it. The pad is now seasoned. The product is dispersed evenly amongst the pad. So moving forward, when we add product to the pad, for the rest of the car, you're going to add 2 dots the size of your pinky nail. That's it. A very little bit goes a very long ways. I love the yellow foam pad and the yellow fine because I say it's like a hot knife going through butter. It just flows so evenly. As long as you're leaving a haze, you are good to go. So 2 dots can literally do most of this hood. It doesn't take very many to go around the car, and that's what people will come to notice, that you will go through a lot less product using this system than you do any other system. So turn your pad over. I'm going to put it on 1. Once it gets going, I'm going to turn it up to 3. So one thing you may have noticed when I was doing this, when I came down, I didn't stop at the edge for edge, because in reality, the edge is where this backing plate is. So that's why I overlapped a little bit. You don't have to worry about burning. So I went over the edge and then came back. I didn't run this way and burn down on the edge. I passed over it and gradually brought it back. Same thing with edges here in the thing. You'll see the pad. You'll learn how to kind of tip the pad on the surfaces. You won't really swirl or burn. But keep your pad. As long as you're leaving a haze, you've got plenty of product. So not without adding any more, I'm going to do this edge just because I'm right here right now. So now we've got yellow product, different microfiber pad than I was using with the blue. Taking 4-way across it, just kind of wipe evenly, smoothly. You don't have to scrub it off. As you'll notice, this side of the hood, we've done a 2-step. Looks amazing compared to that side. That side is, I mean, it's got scratches, it has car wash marks, it's got bugs burned into the clear. Again, it's been a little neglected. This side looks great. And we're under shop lighting. If we move this outside, this side will be flawless. We basically 2-stepped it. The next thing I'm going to show you is RUPES Uno Protect. It is a 1-step product. It's a compound polish sealer built in 1. You can have it change what you want it to do by changing the pad. If you want it to cut more, use a cutting pad. If you want it to polish more, use a polishing pad. If it's kind of in the middle and the car doesn't look too bad, then I would use this one. I'm going to use the yellow one with the Uno Protect just so you can kind of see the difference between a 2-step and a true 1-step. Again, I'm going to clean my pad off with an air hose or this tool before I take it off. Use my tool to get in between the Velcro and the foam. Put on my yellow wool. Put my finger over the hole, shake it. So I know you've seen me setting this on the hood. I'm only doing it because we know the owner of the car, and I'm just using it as a demo purpose. Generally, guys will have a cart by them, and I didn't want a cart in the videos and have to keep turning and without talking to the camera. So yes, I know we don't set anything on the hood. I could put a towel down and set it down like that, which is probably the proper way. But again, I know who owns this car, and he didn't care. He's getting a bonus. He's getting me to buff it for nothing. So we put Uno Protect on the pad. We're going to turn it over. We're going to turn it down to 1 and season it. I'm just putting a T on. I'm going to turn it over. I'm going to turn it on with 1. Then I'm going to bump it up to 3 while I'm going. And I'm just going to do this part here as a 1-step so you can see the comparison difference. One of the tricks to Uno Protect and Uno Advanced is to leave it on the surface for 30 to 45 minutes before you wipe it off. It'll wipe off easier. The chemical used in it is doing something right now as it's sitting on here. So they say 30 to 45 minutes. Sometimes, like when I'm doing a class, I'll take an air gun and I'll blow it on there just to kind of speed up the drying process a little bit, because we don't have 30 to 45 minutes to stand here and look at products dry on a surface. So again, 30 to 45 minutes. I'm going to use a new towel. So I can see it from the angle I'm at. This side has got a deeper, less marked up surface than this. This hood is beyond using a one-step product. Now we can come back, we could compound with this with the blue and then come back and use Uno Protect on the whole thing. There are lots of guys that do that just because it leaves a super slick surface. It's a great product, so it can be used as a second step to a two-step system. Some of the darker colors in like the new GMs, some of the Subarus, I know Toyotas have a weird paint on them too. Uno Pure was developed to make dark-sided cars. When you just need that little extra pop and it's kind of dull and it doesn't look like it's popping out at you, you can take this with a white foam pad, buzz over it, and what this has got in it just makes it pop, makes it shine, makes it go past that little bit. If I could just get it a little bit more. You don't want to keep working the surface because, again, you're going to start hazing it from over buffing. This actually makes it pop out pretty decent. One thing I mentioned on my buffer is the little line. So if I were to turn this buffer on and I don't do anything but just stand here and hold it, it'll look like there's about 6 to 8 of these. If I lean onto it just a little bit and put a little bit of pressure, it's going to look like I have an O. That means it's putting pressure right there. It's showing me where I'm putting the pressure. If I'm doing this and it stalls out, a lot of times it'll look like this will stop because it's no longer doing the spinning, it's just doing the vibrating. So this will actually stay stationary. If I'm pushing down a little bit too much, this will start to look like there's a bunch of them in one area. This just helps them keep that mental block that if they see this getting bunched up, they're pushing or they're leaning. You tell people don't lean, you'll see them buff like this all the way across. Well, when you're making your cross lines, you're only going to have a line to work with about like that. If this pad is flat, you're going to have a circle like that to work with. And you're going to want to overlap 30%. If you're on your side, you literally are overlapping that much because you don't have as much of a surface. For example, there's a nice circle. Here's a side buff. It's half the size. So again, keep it flat. You're going to cover more area. You're going to do a better job and cause yourself less work later. So you can clearly see the half of the hood. We did not tape this hood off. All we did is stopped at the center line. This has a two-step. This has a one-step. That side has not been touched. And I think from your angle, you can clearly see that right up and down the center. This one has a little bit of markings left because the one-step wasn't aggressive enough to get it out, where this hood definitely needed a two-step. If you are going to be doing ceramic coatings, RUPES products are a great product to use. There are no fillers. You cannot use Uno Protect or Uno Advanced if you're going to ceramic coat, but you can use the compound, the polish, and the Uno Pure. If you got a dark color, I highly recommend using Pure with the white foam pad before you put any ceramic coating on. And I'm talking a true coating, not some spray and wipe off one. I mean an actual glass coating 10 times harder than clear coat. So if you're going to do a ceramic coating, we've two-stepped this with the compound and the polish, the yellow and the blue. What we would do is take tree sap remover right before we're going to coat this car, mist it on the hood, mist a little on the rag, and wipe. And what you're doing is getting any oils from your fingers, from setting a rag down or a bottle. You're going to want to prep the surface, wipe it down, and get it completely clean, and then apply your ceramic coating by the instructions of the manufacturer, the ones you're using. Again, we have Quantum and we have Zirconite. So again, this is used right before you put on any ceramic coatings. Mainly is you're removing any contaminants. You're also making that surface 100% ready to accept the ceramic coating. There's no barriers between it. Your coating's going to stick better. Quantum, you can put it on paint and textured plastics. You cannot put it on chrome. You should not put it on glass. You can do plastic headlights, taillights, the plastic moldings on the doors, the paint, anything that has a texture that can bond to it. The biggest thing when using the ceramic coating is take and shake it up before you open it. Once you open it, you got 24 hours to use this bottle. You cannot put the cap on and throw it on the shelf and use it in a month. Do not take other bottles, combine them all together, and then use it a month from now. You will not get the longevity of your product by doing that. It's 24 hours once you crack it open. There's plenty in here to do a car. It's not meant to do 5 cars. So if you're trying to stretch it out and get as many as you can in the next 2 weeks, that's not the purpose of the bottle. What they do is they allow you, they don't stop trees from scratching, rocks from chipping. What they do is allow your clear coat to have an extra protectant on top of it, just kind of like in the old days wax. In the 35 years of me doing this, everyone used to wax their cars. Now everyone uses either a ceramic spray enhancement or an actual glass coating. This product here is also used after you've coated the car. 6 months from now, a year from now, you just want to give a little life to it. I use this about every other wash on my pickup just to make my dark blue pickup shine from the quantum coating that's on it right now. This is a ceramic spray sealant. We sell quite a bit of it. You just basically, it's a protectant with a ceramic SiO2 based property in it. You mist it on the surface. Doesn't take much. Take a new microfiber, fold it in 4, just take and wipe your surface. That is basically it. Easy on, easy off. It will add 3 to 4 months on your paint if you're using an automotive based soap. Some of the misleading things when people have ceramic coatings, I can go through the car wash, 5 times a week and my ceramic's going to bead water for the next 2 years or 5 years or 10 years, some of them out there. No, it won't. It all depends on your environment that you live in. We live in North Dakota. There's harsh winters, there's hot summers. We use touchless car washes with a lot of acid-based soaps. I personally go through a touch car wash 3 to 4 times a week. But I do know after a year I can take this product and a yellow foam pad, buzz my surface quick and easy with this product on it, and it shines brand new and there's no marks left behind. You cannot go down a shelter belt, hit a bunch of trees, and think that the ceramic coating is going to protect your pickup. It's going to protect it. It's going to make it so you have to polish the coating, not the clear coat. So you're just putting a little thin layer over a clear coat to give it an extra protection. Better than any hand wax, anything like that. We offer this in a couple different ways. This is the dry version. We do offer a wash bay version called CBP, Ceramic Body Protection. That one, you wash the car, you rinse it, you do whatever you want to it. You put it in a foam gun ready to use, you foam it on, you wait 5 minutes, you rinse it thoroughly, and you towel or chamois dry. You do not use a water blade. Water blade squeegee off the CBP. You just towel or chamois dry. You will add depth, gloss, hydrophobics. It's quick and easy to do. I mean, it's literally 5 minutes in the wash bay. That's called Ceramic CBP by Quantum, also a Stinger, another Stinger product. So the Quantum line is our wholesale only line. For our retail line, we have the Zirconite. Zirconite is from Great Britain. We are only one of 2 distributors in the US as of right now for this product. They've got a big bottle of coating, a small bottle of coating, they have a rim coating, they have a glass coating protectant, which is amazing. This little bottle is $10. You can literally do 4 or 5 cars with this bottle. Clean the window thoroughly, mist it on, follow the instructions. You will get great water beading off of this for quite a while. They don't recommend, a lot of coatings say they make it for glass and paint. The big thing about not putting a coating on a windshield, you can put it on the side windows in the rear and sunroofs, that's fine. But when you put it on a front windshield and you change the UV effect, and say you're driving down the road and the sun hits your windshield, all of a sudden you got a weird glare and you get in an accident, well, you're going to blame it on the coating. So a lot of the coatings don't recommend doing front windshields, but this is a product, back in the day, 25 years ago, Rain X was a big one. This is an amazing spray that's a lot less money. You can do a lot more cars with it than the old Rain X bottle, and it's easier to use. So the last thing I'm going to do is just show you the difference between a unprotected hood and a protected hood. So we've 2-stepped this, we Uno protect this, but we did spray the whole hood down with 918 ceramic protectant spray. What I'm going to do is stand at the front of the car and flood the car with water, just so you can see the difference between a non-protected and a finished hood after the product has been applied. You can see where this side just kind of runs off. That side wants to bunch up a little bit. There's a little bit of overspray that got over when I was misting, but if you take a car that's never been polished and you do half a car and you drive around in the rain for a week, this side is going to beat up and run off while you're driving down the road. That one's going to have pooled up water and take a lot longer to dry. So we have done a 2-step and a 1-step on our car hood. Hopefully you take away from this learning how to identify what you need to do to make the paint look good in the least amount of steps. I always tell my customers, work smarter, not harder. If you don't need to do a 3, do a 2. If you don't need to do a 2, do a 1. You've got all the different tools from RUPES to figure out what you need to do. Again, my go-to is the yellow and the yellow wool. A lot of customers will use blue and blue. I mean, I don't think having to start out with the most aggressive is the easiest and the smartest answer, because if you can do a yellow and yellow and be done, great. Again, like I said, if you do that test patch, yellow and yellow, and your scratches are gone, but you leave hazing, that tells you you're too aggressive. If there's no hazing and the scratches don't disappear, then you know you need to go to the blue. But again, if all you do is leave hazing, then go to a yellow DA and the yellow polish, and that should be good. 35 years of doing this, I've seen a lot of paints come and go. I've seen a lot of different products. RUPES does have one of the best systems I've ever used. There's been a lot of copycats of their buffers out on the market. One thing nice about RUPES is they have a repair facility in Boulder, Colorado, where they fix their own tools, where a lot of companies, if you have a defective buffer or one that goes out, you literally have to send it to a second-hand place to do it. Nobody fixes their own tools, but RUPES does. So they've got a great warranty, they got a great product, they have great tools, equipment, products, pads, they make it all in-house. So when you're buying their system, you are buying a good system. So today I use the LHR 21 buffer. I like that one because it's a 21 millimeter throw. It's got a bigger throw, meaning I'm covering a bigger surface. I like to get things done quickly and more efficiently. We do have a 15 millimeter throw. You're covering a smaller area. The pad is a 5-inch instead of a 6. In my mind, I like the big one. It just works better for me, and most of my customers enjoy that one too. So we also have the Millet. That is a gear-driven buffer. It's going to have a pattern to the throw. It's a great buffer for the new people who kind of even afraid of the 21 millimeter, which you don't need to be, but some are like, hey, can you just get me a foolproof buffer for our shop? Then go with the 15 Millet. I do have 3-inch in corded and cordless for tight areas, for people doing ceramic coatings on motorcycles. It's the same products, the same pads. You're just working with a 3-inch pad. Again, when I was telling you dots on the size pad, a 3-inch, you're going to have 3 dots. Still going to season the wool exactly the same, but it is for tight areas. A lot of semi guys like it for getting in tight areas on rigs, wheel polishing. My biggest thing is motorcycle guys. It just gets in nice tight areas and you don't have the big clumsy buffer trying to do the job for you. So some of the products, like I said when we were buffing, always clean your pad with the brush or the air gun in between adding more product. When you're using the 2 wool pads, always take more than 1 pad to do a car. I prefer 4. I like to teach the 1, 2, 3, 4 method. Your pads will last longer, you'll get better results. It'll just work a lot better and a lot easier in the long run. The biggest thing too is keep your speed kind of in the middle. Don't lean, don't lay on it, don't push. You don't have to work to do this system. Just let the products do its job for you. If you can, if you're buffing light colors, a lot of the times you can do a 1-step with a yellow pad and a yellow DA, do a 1 and get it out the door. If you're doing auction cars, they don't need to be perfect. Again, when you're under these lights, everything magnifies. If you think it looks pretty good, back the car out in the driveway, out in the sun, and see what you got, because that's what everybody sees on the dealership lot or at the auction lot. A couple of the problems that I see when I teach people how to buff is they try to do the whole hood in 1 step, or they literally work on a spot this big and it takes them 3 minutes. Over buffing is not good, doing too big a hood. Again, divide it in 1.5 by 1.5 or 2 by 2 areas. You shouldn't be in that area for more than a minute. If you are, you're over buffing. Then you're going to get hazing because you're working too long in 1 spot. Just do your area, wipe it off, check it, move on. A lot of the questions I get, which one is better between Uno Protect and Uno Advanced? Uno Protect came out a couple of years ago. It's a great all-in-one product. It's got a compound polish sealer in one. You put it on, you wait 30 to 45 minutes, you wipe it off, do not wash the car for 4 hours. It will get shinier as it goes. They came out with Uno Advanced last year. So basically my take on this, when I tell customers, well, which one should I buy? This one isn't as aggressive as this one. You're going to get a longer longevity of a shine and hydrophobics from this than you will this one, but this one is going to cut out a little bit less. It's not going to be quite as aggressive as this one. That's the only two differences. Again, they're both 30 to 45 minutes of the haze on the paint. Do not wash the car for 4 hours. The car will get shinier as it sits. And that's a key thing, because a lot of people have a tendency to want to wash the car when they're done buffing. You don't need to. With the RUPES system, it isn't like the old days where it's slinging product all over the windshield, all over the guy standing next to you. With the system, you should have a controlled mess where you don't have to wash the entire car when you're done. So just a reminder, these two products you do not want to use before coating a car with a ceramic coating. The Uno Protect or the Uno Advanced is not something you want to use. You want to stick to these three products right here, either the compound, the fine, or the pure. Those you can use, and when you use your tree sap remover, it will remove the leftover residue. What you have for a painted surface when you're done is exactly what you'll get, even after wax and grease remover and the tree sap. These will leave a film, and the ceramic will not want to bond to the paint correctly. One of the questions I get asked frequently is, do they come in bigger containers? No, they do not. They come in quarts or the 250 milliliter bottles. The main reason is they don't come in gallons because you don't use that much of it. So all my customers that used to buy other products from me that come in gallons, you literally, this polish or the Uno Pure or the Protect, very little bit goes a very long way. So people, can I get it in a gallon? No, you cannot. It only comes in quarts and liters. Another reason that it only comes in a quart or the 250 milliliter bottles is for ease of use. You can disperse this while you're buffing. I like the little bottles because you can keep them in your pocket or your pouch of your apron when you're buffing. You're on your buffing cart. They're not big and bulky. For me in my demo bag, this is an easy bottle to carry around. Fill them up with these. Use these as your everyday tool. If you're going to purchase a RUPES buffing system from us, I highly recommend these are the two products that you should start out with. The blue wool, the yellow wool, and the yellow foam pad. Now as you get more advanced and more skilled with your tool, you can move into the white foam and the pure. If you'd like to get into one-step products, if you're doing a lot of auction cars or light-colored cars, the Uno Protect is nice. If you're starting out with a new buffer, you basically got 3 pads, 2 products, and a tool. I highly recommend at least getting a couple pads, so if you wreck one, you have a backup. Once you start doing full-body cars, you're going to want 4 of each of the wool pads at least, and maybe 1 foam as a backup.